that's, is it something that,
Usually you do it, but then you gotta bond the clerk treasurer,
okay,
which is no big deal.
yeah,
If you got a treasurer and a clerk, you don't have to bond them.
We bond, we always do, even before.
That's a good idea.
yeah.
See Nancy Hiller run off a little bit.
Oh, geez, stuff. We're gonna be gone. So I emailed her, cause on land use planning, I got her email, and I said, well, it looks like we're gonna have to do absentee, and she got right back, and
Very, very.
sent us the forms, dropped the envelopes off at the courthouse, and
She's got like either a bachelor's or master's degree in high school, but I think it's.
yeah.
Somebody said. She's going to.
Stick around or not?
For right now.
Yeah,
We've got a good.
okay. Sure. Good. Sure, I think so.
I will call this meeting of the Waushara County Planning and Zoning Committee to order. This meeting will begin with a public hearing. Anyone other than the applicant or the representative wishing to speak must register and submit the registration slip to myself or the secretary. Following the hearing, we will conduct a meeting, at which time we will vote on the applications. You may stay and hear how the applications are decided, or you may leave. The applicant and the town board will be contacted about tonight's decision. Any other person wishing to receive a copy of any decision can sign the sheet at the front of the room. Those of you wishing immediate knowledge of the outcome of these proceedings may call the county zoning office tomorrow morning. The procedure will be as follows for the public hearing. After each applicant is read, the applicant, their agent, or representative will have a maximum of 10 minutes to present their application, followed by any questions or comments from the committee. Then all correspondence will be read. Then others in favor will have a maximum of 5 minutes to speak. Anyone objecting will then have a maximum of 5 minutes to speak. I will then ask for staff comments. Finally, the applicant will be allowed a maximum of 5 minutes for a rebuttal if they wish. Anyone wishing to speak should use the microphone, state their name, and direct their comments to the committee. If you are testifying as a nearby landowner, please tell us where your property is located. Tonight's hearing will be videotaped, and all tapes will become part of the record. Comments that are based on rumors, hearsay, and secondhand information, as well as racial and prejudicial remarks, will be ruled out of order. The committee has looked at all the properties and have recorded would reflect their observations. Any person affected by an administrative decision of this committee has 10 days to file from tonight's decision to make an appeal. Such appeals are heard by the Board of Adjustments. Information and applications are available from the zoning office. The county assumes no liability and makes no warranty as to the legality of any construction commenced prior to the expiration of the 10-day period. I will now introduce the committee. To my far left, Joe Piaski, Larry Crawford, Mike Likeness, Bob Wadle, Mark Schumacher, zoning administrator, for a little while yet, and my name is Mark Kirshner. First application that we have tonight is Corey and Lois Parlonia, Oshkosh, Wisconsin, have made an application for unconditional use in accordance with sections 58-236, paragraph 18, and 58-454, paragraph 31 of the Waushara County Zoning Code to store a 1992 37-foot Cobra Sierra travel trailer in an AG-5 general agricultural 5-acre minimum zone. Location, an approximate 20-acre parcel of land being the north half of the southwest quarter of the northeast corner, Section 34, Town 20 North, Range 10 East, Town of Rose, fire number N5149, 17th Bend. Is the applicant here? Would you come forward, please? Would you state your name for the record, please?
Yeah, it's Corey Carolina.
Anything you can tell us about the property, or inform the committee of anything?
The only thing I'll tell you is it is property that we purchased from Mr. and Mrs. Flegner for the purposes, primary purpose of hunting. One of the things that we have found is living in cities all our lives, that going out on that property at night, we see stars and stuff that we've never seen before. It is a high, it's very high elevation for the area. Very little lighting contaminates the skies, and it's absolutely beautiful out there. I mean, obviously. So, I mean, we use it for hunting. We put the camper out there for just a couple purposes. For one purpose is to get us warm during the cold times, during deer hunting and turkey hunting. That's what we basically hunt out there. We also use it occasionally during turkey or deer season in primary. For me, because it's such a trip back and forth between here and Oshkosh, I might stay over there a night.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I have stayed over a couple times during the summer. We've stayed over a couple times during the turkey season. We have a set of co-owners with us, one of them being present, Ronald and Debbie Gramer. And they've joined us many times. They come out at times and spend an evening. They don't spend all night most of the time because they live much closer, but they use the camper. And we have maybe a dinner, a cookout out there, a campfire, and that sort of thing. And that's primarily what the purpose is. When we put the camper there, obviously was not aware of the need for a waiver. So we're sorry about that. We enjoy the land, we enjoy the hunting, and as far as I know, I mean, I guess I'd be surprised if somebody's against us having it there. I will be the first to admit that I would never dream of putting a camper like that in the middle of a residential area. But as the pictures should indicate from our application, there's only one house can see it, and he built the house pretty much after we put the camper there.
Yeah, the committee's been out and looked at the site and stuff, so. Okay, committee questions?
Mr. Carolina, is the trailer licensed and roadworthy?
At the time, it was not. Since then, I even talked to Amy and told her that we were having difficulty getting a title. It had been sold a number of times. We did get a title. We do now have it licensed, and it is ready, to go.
Your site plan shows that the nearest lot line is about 190 feet away from the trailer location. Is that correct?
That would be my guess, yes, on the north side.
And you own 20 acres out
20
there?
acres.
Has there been a recent survey?
My guess, I'm guessing, but we bought it like 4 years ago, and he had it surveyed about, I think, 2 years before that. There are survey stakes still present on all four corners.
And you're sure of the lot lines?
Yes.
You indicate that there'll be no running water. Is that correct?
There's no running water. We bring water from our homes. There is no sewer. We have a porta potty that we bring and take home with us and dump it home. We take all trash home if we stay or, no matter what.
Are there any other buildings planned?
No,
for the site? Okay.
nothing.
Are there any other trailers in the area?
Yes. There's 4 20-acre parcels, and the very first one is a trailer that's parked there. It's been there. It was there prior to us getting there.
That's on the left as you go in towards
Yes.
yours?
Yes.
Yeah, we saw that.
Yes. And then there's an empty lot, an empty 20-acre lot, and then there's the lot with the house on it, and then there's our lot. And then behind us, I've talked to the fellow back there, and my understanding is that I think he said he has 80 acres back there that he uses for nothing but hunting.
You have a uniform property address number now, and that number is 5149.
Yes, we've been
is that
notified
correct?
by the Sheriff's Department, I believe it was.
That's all.
Okay. Any other committee questions? Okay, you can have a seat. Thank you. Correspondence?
No correspondence on the application. No one registered in favor or in opposition.
Staff comments?
For the record, the committee's previously been furnished with a copy of the site plan and all the other pertinent data for this and the other applications that will be considered tonight. Travel trailer requirements in Waushara County, if you have 10 acres or more and you can keep it more than 100 feet from the lot line, you're eligible to apply for a conditional use. If this conditional use would be approved tonight, there's standard conditions which the applicants can meet. The trailer has to stay licensed and roadworthy, can't be put on any foundations or any permanent additions, have to have adequate sanitary facilities, and with a waterless situation, a portable chemical toilet is acceptable. And then we do an annual inspection on these to make sure that they're kept licensed and roadworthy and they meet those conditions. So when the committee visited the property, they noted the unit is not visible from the road. In fact, one of our committee members couldn't even find the place. We had a tough time ourselves, but as was stated, there is a fire number there already, and we did notice another travel trailer in the area as well. And we did notify the township, and we don't have any correspondence from them. So that's all I had.
Okay. Anything that you'd like to add?
The only thing I'd add is I did talk to the town of Wild Rose chairman,
Okay.
and basically he told me that he would obviously discuss it with his the other folks that's part of the township organization, and he told me at the time he didn't see any problem if it wasn't visible from the roads, and he said he would notify me of any problems, and he did not.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. The next application that we will hear tonight would be Dwayne G. and Lorna J. Miller, Wautoma, Wisconsin, have made application for a conditional use in accordance with Section 58-236, Paragraph B, Section 22, and 58-454, Paragraph 35 of the Waushara County Zoning Code to establish an auto and small engine repair shop as a home-based business accessory to existing single-family home utilizing an existing 24 by 28 pole building in an AG 10 general agricultural 10-acre minimum zone. Location, an approximate 19-acre parcel of land being part of the southwest quarter of the southeast quarter west of State Road 73, Section 8, Town 19 North, Range 10 East. Town of Wautoma, fire number N4165, State Road 73. Is the applicant present? Please come forward. Would both of you state your name for the record, please?
Dwayne Miller.
Lorna Miller.
Okay, anything you can tell us, Dwayne, about what you plan on doing and everything? Or?
Well, I've been in business for 25 years, so I decided to go on my own. Decided to help friends out, see if I can make it. I know the economy's bad, but figure if I go both ways, one might compensate the other. Everybody's been telling me, so I might as well do it now. Take the plunge. That's about it.
Okay. Okay. Committee questions?
Now, will there be any employees outside the immediate family?
No.
What sort of repairs work do you do?
Automotive and small engines. Work on snowmobiles.
Or you store the small engines in the cars while they're waiting for service?
Everybody will be picked up within a 24-hour period. No cars will be stored or no small engines.
Will there be any other things stored outside?
No. Other than my own vehicles.
How about tires and,
No.
will you be doing any body work or painting?
No.
How about air conditioning work?
No.
Any salvage or scrapping of vehicles or engines or parts?
No, sir.
Any used or new car sales?
No.
How do you dispose of your waste oil?
Burner.
You're not planning on any advertising signs?
No, sir.
Are you aware of the state building codes and other state requirements, and will they be met?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, and you or your wife talked to one of our building inspectors, I think, about sanitary facilities and,
Yes, sir, I talked to, the zoning office, and I also talked to Fred Dahlke, the
Right.
commercial inspector.
okay,
And we've also been in contact with, the Knop Schmidt Architects. He's also been drawing up plans for us to submit to the state
Okay.
to get the conditional use and to get the property approved.
okay. So you, in the process of drawing plans of the building to have them submitted, is that what you're doing then?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay.
You're not putting in a separate, separate bathroom in. Have you checked with the building inspector about that?
Yes, we have, and we are submitting in plans that putting in a bathroom in the 24 by 28 pole building that is existing now.
Okay, your site plan shows an area for future expansion. Can you tell us what you, what you are planning for expansion?
That's no longer going to happen. We decided not to do that. I don't want to get that big.
The only expansion that, we are looking at now,
It's
sorry.
just adding on to the 24 by 28 garage now that I have. That's it.
And that's the plans that, the architect personally is, and we have the plans here if you need to see.
Well, we don't need to see them, but could you at least tell us how big of an addition you're planning?
30 by 30.
Okay. So that if this committee gives you an approval tonight, they can approve that addition right away, so you don't have to
Yeah.
come back?
Mark's drawing it up right now to send it
Okay.
to the state. It's just going to be an addition on the front of it, a 30 by 30. That's all I want.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I need.
Okay.
I go any bigger, then it's going to cost me more overhead and stuff. And
Because normally, if there's an approval given, the committee says it has to be in substantial compliance with a site plan. And since this addition isn't on the site plan, we want to make sure we get it in the minutes if they would approve it, so that's included in any approval. So, okay.
That's all the questions I have.
Any other committee questions? Joe?
Yeah, can you tell us what type of work you do in the automotive? Are you doing complete overhauls, engines,
I will-
transmissions?
I will install them and remove them, but I will not rebuild them. It takes too long, too much overhead for that, too many special tools.
Okay.
A lot of customers don't want to pay for that kind of money.
Mike or Bob, anything? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Correspondence?
We have a letter in favor from the town of Watoma that was received August 9th, request by Dwayne and Lorna Miller, addressed to the Planning and Zoning Committee. At the August 3rd town board meeting, the town of Watoma heard a request by Dwayne and Lorna Miller to run auto repair business out of their home. They told us this will be a small-scale operation with no outside employees. There would not be a large number of vehicles parked at this location waiting for repairs. With the information provided, the town of Watoma is not opposed to this request. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you, Jeffrey L. Nett, Chairman, Town of Watoma. And that's all the correspondence we have.
Anyone in favor or object?
No one registered in favor or in opposition.
Staff comments?
The commercial building codes are pretty simple. Basically, if a building has employees or customers, or if it stores other people's equipment, that building has to conform with the commercial code. The applicant said they've already made the process of going through that with the proposed addition. I would remind you that if you do give a approval tonight, you'd want to note the amendment to the site plan, which would be the proposed addition to the existing pole building. Several years ago, we did change our zoning regulations, which allowed this type of business to be established without a zone change, with certain limitations. One of them was that there be no new or used car sales in a situation like this. But it does allow a small family business like the Millers are proposing to be established with a conditional use rather than a zone change. And the advantage of that is then you don't have spots of commercial zoning out in the township, and you don't have the potential of that property being used for something other than what was intended. Conditional use allows that particular business to be established but it does not allow it to be converted to another commercial use like a restaurant or, you know, a retail store. So what it does, it allows an applicant to develop a business. The applicant can actually sell the business, but they can't convert it to another commercial use unless we go through a zone change. And what that does, it helps protect the neighborhood and the township, and it eliminates these spot zoning. Really, a lot of these operations are not so much what the people do, it's who the people are that does it. It's the management of the business that really makes or breaks this application. We have some people that are very neat and they're very tidy and they take care of things and they dispose of their waste oils and antifreeze and all this other stuff. And then we have other ones that, you know, have a lot of cars and things waiting to be serviced, and then in a case like this where it's highly visible from the highway, that would be a real concern. If there are going to be cars waiting, you know, more than 24 hours or so, one suggestion would be to put them in a location where they wouldn't be visible from the highway. Putting up a solid fence or putting them behind the building, something like that, would be a reasonable condition, just so that there wouldn't be a yard full of you know, vehicles waiting the service. And then, of course, we have had situations where the people also salvage, excuse me, or scrap out the vehicles, and of course that's a completely different operation then, and that's another thing we have to be concerned with. But I think if it's handled property, if it's managed property, and there'd be certain conditions put on the approval, if you would decide to approve it, it would be the type of family business that could complement the community and not pose any adverse impacts environmentally or aesthetically. So let's see, a couple other notes here. The septic system for the home was installed in 1998. We do have a notice from the Department of Transportation saying that when you change the use of a property, they need to be notified. There might be a driveway issue involved, so it may just be a matter of getting a permit from Department of Transportation, but that's one thing the applicant would have to check on. And when the committee visited the property, they noted this is just south of an existing commercial business. So that's all I had to add on the application.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add, sir? Okay, thank you. Next application that we will hear, Evergreen Campsites and Resort Incorporated, Wild Rose, Wisconsin, has made application for a conditional use in accordance with sections 58-236, paragraph B, paragraph 11, and 58-454, paragraph 22 of the Waushara County Zoning Code to place a 2005 14 by 64 Holly Park mobile home in an AG General Agricultural Zone. Location, an approximately 1.3 acre parcel of land known as Parcel D of Certified Survey Map number 1029, being part of the southwest quarter of the southwest quarter, Section 25, Town 20 North, Range 11 East. Town of Springwater, 24th Avenue. The applicant present? Come forward, Jim. Would you state your name for the record, please?
James, middle initial, P as in Paul, Button, B-U-T-T-O-N.
Anything you can tell us, Jim?
Well, first, this is never easy coming up here. I get nervous just like going to the prom. So, first, I just wanted to say, you know, learning of Mark's retirement, I know this isn't the time or place, but I just wanted to say, you know, that I wish you well, Mark. I know that my father and I have worked with you for 29 years. And there's not a better person that has been on the zoning board. And I thank you for all your years. And I know my father would say the same thing. So
Thanks, Jim.
thanks. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say
Okay.
that. It's a Holly Park. It's basically going to be across from the east side of the campground. It'll sit amongst, there's 3 double wides on that street and 2 mobile homes on that street. basically, I think 4 of the properties were 5-acre parcels when they divided that off. The man I bought it from was Mel Hensgen back in 1992. He had planned on putting a mobile home there for his wife and family. When he passed away, he basically wanted Evergreen Campsite to have it. And I just learned of there was a family in Wild Rose that was going to be moving out of the area, going through some hard times, and I offered to help the people by placing a mobile home there for the girls to finish high school in Wild Rose. So that's what this is for. It's just a goodwill gesture to be nice and let the kids finish school in Wild Rose before they move on.
All right. Committee questions?
Yeah, we got a couple questions for you. Are you planning any additions or alterations to the mobile home?
There might be a 2-car garage or a 1-car garage, whatever they need. It would be a detached garage.
Are any other buildings being planned on that site at all?
No.
Any changes planned to the driveway? You still going to use the circle drive?
But there was on the diagram they had showed, this is going back from 1992, and it was kind of like a horseshoe drive, and I thought it would be a nice way to keep that buffer so you wouldn't see the mobile home, so you wouldn't see that mobile home as you're driving down the street. Not to mention all the other ones on the west side of the road. So I did have plans on leaving that horseshoe drive there, but if not, I mean, I can make one, whatever.
Just be improving it.
Sure.
Yeah. Was there a survey done? You said in 1982?
There was a survey done in 1992. Also, I had Dean Russin from Stevens Point do a survey on it.
Are all the stakes at the corners still there?
Yes.
Heard your application to be on a block foundation with vinyl skirting around the outsides?
Yes. Yes.
Where's the mobile home parked at now?
The mobile home is just sitting in the campground, basically kind of waiting in Evergreen Campsite, just waiting if it's a yes or no. If it's a no, then
You bought it from the dealer?
yes, I did.
Okay. Do the pictures of the home accurately represent the present condition?
Inside, it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous mobile home. It's a white vinyl with a shingled roof on it, and it would be immaculate. We would keep the grounds up and everything.
The property does not have a fire number now.
No, it does not. That'll have to be applied for.
There was an evaluation of the existing septic system, so you know what you're planning on using it? Will it work?
Yes, Mr. Russin he's a soil engineer. He went through, the septic system was never even used since 1992, so I had him come in, make sure that everything was fine. There needs to be a pre-filter before the system for code nowadays.
If an approval was given, when would you place the mobile unit?
Oh, it would be, as soon as I could get all the contractors together, there has to be power, there has to be water.
This fall, probably.
Yes.
That's all questions we got.
Any other committee questions? Okay, thank you, Jim.
Okay.
Correspondence?
No correspondence on the application.
Anyone registered to speak?
No one registered in favor or in opposition.
Staff comments?
The septic was installed in 1992. The system's been evaluated. It meets all the requirements of the code, except it's slightly undersized, does not have to be upgraded. We can just have an affidavit of undersized system filed, and that would take care of that. When the committee visited the property, they noted there are numerous other mobile homes and travel trailers in the area, and they also noted there is no fire number on the property. So that's all I had to add. Pretty straightforward, yeah.
Pretty short for you. Anything you'd like to add, Jim? Okay, thank you. Okay, the next application we will hear tonight is a zone change. Paul E. and Cheryl R. Olson, Wautoma, Wisconsin, have made application for a zone change in accordance with sections 58-131 through 138 and 58-571 through 573 of the Waushara County Zoning Code from an RS-20 residential single-family to an RM residential multifamily for the purpose of establishing a 4-unit multiple-family dwelling utilizing an existing 32 by 64 two-story building within the shoreland area. Location, lots 25 through 28 and part of a vacated Floyd Street and North Alley, all being part of an Aurora plot subdivision, being part of the south half of the southeast quarter, Section 6, Town 18 North, Range 13 East, Town of Aurora, Auroraville Mill Pond, fire number N213 and N2133, State Road 49. Is the applicant present? Would you come forward, please? State your name for the record.
I'm Paul Olson.
Is there anything you can add, Paul, or tell us?
Not really.
Okay. Committee questions?
Mr. Olson, this is a duplex now, then you want to make it into a fourplex, is that correct?
That is correct.
Your mound system has been designed to handle these additional apartments?
Yes, it has.
You're also aware that now you'll need to conform with commercial building codes?
Correct.
Are any exterior changes planned to the building?
Not to the building, looking at potential 3-car garage at some point addition.
Are any additional buildings planned, like a new?
No.
How many parking spaces do you have?
Right now there are 8.
Okay. Any other committee questions? Okay. Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Correspondence?
We have a letter in favor from the town of Aurora that was faxed to our office on August 16th from Jerry Luttrop, the clerk of the town of Aurora. And I'll read that letter. It says, at a regular meeting of the town of Aurora board on August 12, 2010, the issue of granting a zone change from RS-20 to RM multiple family to Paul and Cheryl Olson to establish a 4-unit multiple family dwelling in the old Auroraville school was placed on the agenda. Paul and Cheryl had appeared at the regular board meeting in July to inform the board of their intent. The board was supportive of their proposal at the time, but could not act on it because it was not on an agenda item. Paul Olson was also present at the August board meeting. The zone change had been placed on the agenda, and Mr. Olson gave a brief explanation of the need for the zone change. Clerk Luttrop commented that he had contacted personnel from the zoning office and had been informed that everything was in order for the zone change at their office. There was no opposition to the zone change from anyone present at the meeting. After discussion, the board voted to support granting the zone change to Paul and Cheryl Olson, noting that they felt the changes to the school have not only benefited the applicant, but have improved the appearance of the town and added tax base. And that's signed sincerely, Jerry Luttrop, Clerk, Town of Aurora. That's all the correspondence.
Anyone registered?
No one registered in favor or in opposition.
Staff comments.
A zone change is slightly different from a conditional use, which were the first previous applications, in that a zone change is a 3-step process. If it's approved tonight, it then has to go to the full county board of supervisors, and if it's approved by the full county board of supervisors, it then has to go to the town board. As was already stated, as it's zoned residential, you're allowed up to a 2-family dwelling without changing the zoning, and when you go beyond that, then it has to change to commercial in order to allow that, or multiple family residential in this case. So that's the reason for the zone change, and again, the public hearing tonight is just one of a 3-step process to get to that point. The same applies with the building codes. The residential building codes in the state of Wisconsin apply to 1- and 2-family dwellings, and when you get into more units than a duplex, then the building has to conform to commercial building codes. but the applicants are aware of that. As was stated, the mound system was designed to support this in anticipation of the units being expanded, and that's about it. I think everything's in order. So,
Anything else you'd like to add, Paul?
You never argue with your wife because I told her to get a commercial use before she started the project. Now I'm finishing it. That's the reason why it wasn't done to begin with.
Okay. Okay, at this time, we will be adjourning to the room next door to continue our business meeting and vote on the applications. But before we adjourn, I'd like to just say a couple things. The man to my right, Mark Schumacher, has elected to retire. And it's been a real pleasure working with Mark on the zoning board here. And I was telling him tonight that I can remember when he took this job 30 years ago. He's worked for the county for about 35 years and in land conservation for the first 5, if I believe I'm right, Mark, and then 30 years as zoning administrator. And it was announced at the Golden Nugget at a Towns Association meeting one night. And but it's been a real pleasure working with Mark. And Terry, you're going to have some big shoes to fill. But once again, Mark has elected to retire. And so, Mark, I just want to say thank you very much and
appreciate that.
Appreciate everything.
All right, thanks, Mark.
Thanks again, fellas.
That should be worse, at least a quarter. Where's Terry? Yeah. Yeah, anybody that has a conditional use or the zone change can go in with the zoning committee and you can hear how they vote tonight. So, Paul, if you want to go in there. Okay, thanks, Jen. I appreciate it. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much. All right, thanks, Paul. Appreciate it. Take care. Oh, no, you stay here because you got variance. Yeah.
Call this meeting with Waushara County Board of Adjustments to order. This meeting will be conducted in the same manner as the applications heard by the zoning committee. Anyone other than the applicant or representative wishing to speak at this meeting must have registered. Anyone who has not should do so immediately and submit the registration slip to myself or the secretary. The board has looked at all the properties and the record will reflect these observations. Following the public hearing, the board will conduct its monthly meeting, at which time we will vote on the applications. You may stay and hear how the applications are decided, or you may leave. Any person affected by an administrative decision of this board has 30 days from the filing of tonight's decision to file an appeal. Such appeals are heard by the circuit court. Information is available from the county zoning office. The county assumes no liability and makes no warranty as the legality of any construction commenced prior to the expiration of this 30-day period. Now I introduce the rest of the board. To my left are Fred Gellerup, Larry Tim, George Wilson, Jim Warwick. My name is Roger Wagner. First variance to be considered tonight, Joanna Greasy, Appleton, Wisconsin. Genmar Properties, a limited partnership landowner, has made an application for a variance after the fact in accordance with section 58-826, paragraph B of the Waushara County Zoning Code to replace an existing mobile home with a 14 by 64 mobile home coming to within 50 feet of the center line of County Road H, 63.5 average setback required in the OP Park and Recreational Zone within the shoreline area. Location, part of an approximate 37.75 acre parcel of land, being part of the northeast 1/4, the northwest 1/4, section 33, Town of Springwater, lot 610 of Parker's Little Silver Lake Resort, County Road H. Is the applicant present? Come forward, please. State your name for the record.
Jonna Greasy.
Okay. Anything further to add at this time?
No, just that when we purchased the trailer, we had gone through the Parkers. We talked to Josh Parker, got approval. We had the people that were moving the trailer come in and scout out where it would lay and had Josh approve it. We had talked to the town of Springwater to be able to pull it in and all that. We were not aware of the variance, so we're sorry about that. And I do have pictures of the new trailer that are in that you guys have been out there.
Yep.
So you kind of know how
And
everything's
we have
set
copies
and-
of those pictures.
Okay,
that I gave
and the
to
new
them.
ones that I just took, where like you can, they're, like our next door neighbor has a shed that is closer to the road than.
Sure, why don't you give those to us? We can pass them around. Okay.
Guess if you don't have any questions for me, I think I pretty much.
Okay, just a few questions then for the record. You're sure the road right-of-way in that area? Do you know where the road right-of-way is?
Yes,
Okay.
That's where the fence is?
yes.
That's the edge of the road right away.
Okay.
And this unit replaces a 1958 model, is that correct?
Yes, it does.
And how close was the older mobile home to the county road?
It was 4 feet back farther than what the new one is. It was 4 feet closer away from the road than what the new one is, and except we did take down a shed that was behind it that was closer to the road than what our new trailer is.
Okay. Other than the deck, are there any other additions planned at this time?
No, and the deck was there prior, so,
And all other setbacks will be met, is that correct?
correct. As long, unless we don't know of one, I think we've had everyone out there, so.
Okay. Any other committee questions?
And the newer mobile home is longer than the old one, and is it closer to the private campground road
Yes,
too?
it's
So-
as
so
close as we could get to the private, there's pictures of that in there too. It's
And I
as
guess
close
that
as
was
we
the
could.
point I wanted to make, is it isn't like you tried to push it way out in the road. You moved it
No.
as close as you could to the private campground road as you could, but it still extended a little bit further to the road.
Yes, correct. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Do you want your pictures back? Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any correspondence?
Yes, we have a letter in support from Mary Parker, who I believe is the owner of the campground. It says, to whom it may be concerned, June 18th is the date of the letter. I am in agreement with allowing Mike and Jonna Greasy to obtain a variance to let their mobile home sit closer to County Road H than the allotted 63 feet. They are restricted by the size of their lot and are making improvements to the lot and the campsite by replacing the existing 1958 mobile home with a newer 1996 mobile home. Sincerely, Mary L. Parker. And then we have a petition with 38 signatures. I'll just read the petition. It says, I am aware that Mike and Jonna Greasy are asking Washera County for a variance which would allow them to place their mobile home located on Lot 610 in Little Silver Lake Resort outside of the allowed 63 feet road to dwelling ordinance. They are removing a 1959 mobile home and replacing it with a 1996 model, which will enhance their lot as well as improve the condition of the campsite. The new home will be placed approximately the same distance from the road as the home which is being removed, which is approximately 54 feet from the center of H. By signing this petition, I acknowledge and I am in agreement with allowing a variance for the placement of the Greasy mobile home on Lot 610, Little Silver Lake Resort. And probably what I can do is, rather than read all 38 signatures, and some of them are a little hard to read, I'll pass the petition around and I'll let each Board of Adjustment member look at the petition and signatures. So that's all the correspondence we have on the application.
No one registered?
No one registered in favor or in opposition?
Staff comments?
For the record, the board's previously been furnished with a copy of the site plan and all the other pertinent data for this and the other applications that will be considered tonight. Regarding all the variances, the applicant, not the board, has to prove that the zoning code is unnecessarily burdensome there are unique physical features or property limitations, and that an approval will not harm the public or the neighbors. Replacing an existing mobile home in a campground or a mobile home park is permitted and does not require a public hearing, because those mobile home parks and campgrounds are zoned for mobile homes and camping trailers. But when they are placed, they have to meet setbacks, and if they don't, then they need a variance, and that's the reason we have it tonight. One of the things we did look at when the board visited the property, we noted that it is not possible to fit a mobile home on this lot between the campground road and the county road without meeting the required setbacks. So there obviously is a hardship in that the lot existed prior to zoning, and there's really no other alternate location for it. The board, when we also visited the property, noticed that there are numerous other structures in the campground that are very close to the road, and the applicant submitted letters that are pictures that also showed that. The board also noted that there is a good security fence between the mobile home and the right-of-way, which would help protect the occupants from traffic. And I think if I remember right, the speed limit is 35 miles an hour there, if I'm not mistaken, too. So it's not like they're, booking along. It's 55 miles an hour. So those were the things the board observed, and those would be the comments I would have on the application.
Thank you. Next variance to be considered, Lon and Michelle Bertram, Franklin, Wisconsin, have made an application for variance in accordance with section 58-235, paragraph B and paragraph 2, and 58-826, paragraph B, the Waushara County Zoning Code to construct a 14 by 24 two-story addition to an existing single-family dwelling coming to within 6 inches of the state road right-of-way, and to repitch the roof over the existing approximate 22 by 28 cottage, creating a partial loft, cumulative additions exceeding 50% of the equalized assessed value of an existing non-conforming structure, non-conforming due to ordinary high water mark, side lot, and road setbacks, and to construct a 24 by 44 single-story addition to an existing detached 14 by 22 garage that is located 6 inches from the road right-of-way, exceeding 50% of the equalized assessed value of an existing non-conforming structure, non-conforming due to road setbacks in the RS-20 zone, residential single-family zone within the shoreland area. Location: an approximate 100 by 132-foot parcel of land on the northwest shore of Silver Lake, between State Road 21 and Silver Lake, being part of Government Lot 2 and part of the south 1/2 of the northwest 1/4, Section 6, Town of Marion, W7211 West Silver Lake Road and Silver Lake. The applicant come forward, please. Hi. State your name for the record, please.
Michelle Bertram.
Lon Bertram.
Okay. Anything further to add at this time?
Yes. We're here this evening to ask you to consider our request for a variance. The plans that we submitted represent the best use of the space available on this non-conforming property, which we just recently had surveyed in July of 2010. A tear down and rebuild was discussed with local contractors, but even with a modest rebuild, the road and the water setbacks would be similar. The only setback that really could be improved would be the side lot line. Inspection of the existing structure revealed that the foundation is structurally sound. By keeping and adding onto the existing structure, there's space available for adding onto the garage while meeting the required water setback. So we're proposing to keep the existing garage and simply add onto it, also because it is structurally sound. And by using this proposed location, there will be plenty of room for cars to turn around and therefore not need to back onto the road. Pending approval of the requested variance, we are planning to install infiltrators to catch the rainwater runoff and to revegetate the hill, as per Tom Litwin's specifications with use of the native plants. And one other thing I guess I'd like to clarify that had kind of come up at the on-site visit was the overhang on the roadside. We want to clarify that that will remain on our property and will not go past the property line. Thank you.
Okay, then, just some general questions for the record. You're sure of all lot lines and the road right-of-way, is that correct?
Yes, we are.
There was a survey done in 2010, like you stated?
Just last month, yep.
Okay, have you talked with the Department of Transportation about this?
That is not one entity, that's not an entity that we did contact,
Okay.
although we did talk to a number of them.
Okay, so basically you're adding a two-story addition to the home closer to the road and remodeling the existing home, adding onto the garage. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay. Other than the roof over the existing home, will there be any other construction on the home on the lakeside?
No construction
Okay.
at all on the lakeside.
The home is going to be 6 inches from the right-of-way, correct?
Correct.
And no overhang then?
Well, we measured, and you can just do, how many inches was it? You can do minimal, 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, and so we plan to keep that on our property.
Okay.
So as to not cause a problem and a concern.
Okay. I guess you've explored all the other options out there, correct? Plenty of room for parking? Okay.
22 feet
Okay.
from the garage to the side lot line, so plenty of room to turn around and park.
Your first floor elevation, is that going to be the same as the existing home? Okay.
Exactly, it will line
Not
up.
changing that or anything?
No, we plan to just add foundation in the back to add right onto and match up exactly.
And the same with the garage, the same floor elevations?
Yes.
Okay. And what will the finished height of the home be approximate?
I don't have that information.
Will it be less than 35 feet?
It will be less than the 35.
Okay. And the garage addition is going to be single-story?
Yes, and that will be less than the 18 feet.
Okay. Have you checked with a power company about setbacks from the overhead line?
Well, I guess we are right where the garage is now. I guess I haven't checked the recently, but where the garage is now, we're not going to be any closer.
Okay.
But the two-story addition on the home would be about the same distance from the power line as what the existing one-story garage is, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, but it wouldn't hurt for you if an approval would be granted to check with the power company to make sure they don't have any additional setbacks. Normally, it's the more high-powered lines, but we have had situations, some of them on Silver Lake, where the power company does have a horizontal and a vertical setback, but you just want to make sure. I don't think it would be in this case, but it's something you'd want to check with.
Okay, we'll check on that, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, and your site plan said that you're going to be using infiltrators to manage stormwater and revegetating the shoreline?
Exactly.
If an approval were granted, when would you start this construction?
We were talking about doing the foundation this fall, and probably the building then would be in the spring.
Any other committee questions? Go ahead.
Oh, I see.
I have a couple concerns. The existing garage is shown on the survey as being like 6 inches from the lot line. And if we were grant this variance, we would have two structures that would be that close to the lot line. The other concern I have is that the proposed addition is 24 by 44, I believe it says. And that's already bigger than the average garage in the area. And adding it on to the existing garage would make a unusually large garage compared to other garages in the neighborhood. You know, and I think, you know, some uniformity and conformity is good for a neighborhood too. And I was wondering how much of a hardship would it be for you if we were to ask you to remove the existing garage?
I guess we were thinking of keeping it because the structure is pretty sound and everything that way. To answer your first question, I guess, about the two structures being so close to the road, the reason I guess that we considered adding on to the house back there was that it kind of tucks right in and kind of follows the area, and like you were saying, you want something that kind of fits with the neighborhood and what's around it. If you add on to the house back there, that would work, you know, very visually nicely, kind of tuck into where the garage is already. And then to talk about the garage, we are the kind of people that like to kind of keep everything inside the garage, so there's nothing looking unsightly outside. So that's why we went a little bit bigger, so that we could have everything inside and tidy. You know, certainly if it's decided that we need to maybe downsize a little bit, we could consider that.
Anything else? Any other questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Correspondence?
We have 4 letters from neighbors that are in favor. The first one is from Glenn and Donna Ellenbecker at W7199 State Road 21, addressed to the Board of Adjustments. We support the Bertrams' proposed variance at W7211 West Silver Lake Road. We met them prior to their purchase of this property last year. We shared with them the many things this lake and the community have to offer. We would like to help them get approval of this variance so that their family will have more space. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Sincerely, Glenn and Donna Ellenbecker. The other one is from Audrey Reininger, R-E-I-N-I-N-G-E-R. In favor, received July 14th. It says, Dear committee members, I am in favor of the proposed variance for the Bertrams are requesting at 7211 West Silver Lake Road. They showed me their plans to add building space going back to the road and to add a second story. My property lies adjacent to theirs. Please grant this variance for them so that they will have more space for their family. Thank you sincerely, Audrey Reininger. The other one is received July 6th in favor from Thomas and Kathy Larson. Dear committee members, we're writing today to advise you of our support for the proposed variance at W7211 West Silver Lake Road requested by the Bertrams. They have shared their plans with us, and we agree that this proposal would benefit our community. Throughout the last year, we have watched the Bertrams spend countless hours restoring and beautifying the property that lies adjacent to ours. We are asking you to grant this variance for them so that their family may continue to enjoy the property to its fullest. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Thomas and Kathy Larson. Also in favor, received July 13th from Greg and Laura Lester, L-E-S-T-E-R, W7195 Silver Lake Road. Dear committee members, please know we support the proposed variance at W7211 West Silver Lake Road requested by the Bertrams. Please grant this variance for them so their family will have more space. Thank you for your consideration of this. Sincerely, Greg and Laura Lester. And that's all the correspondence we have on the application.
No one, no one registered either in favor or opposition. Staff comments?
Obviously, when you look at the site plan, and we have a good survey, we have a good site plan, the applicants did an outstanding job. Actually, all the applicants tonight, I believe, did an outstanding job of laying out their properties, and I certainly thank them for that. But the Bertrams had everything laid out for us when the board visited the property. It's very obvious because of the overlapping setbacks that this lot cannot be built on without a variance. So the question then is not whether a variance should be granted or not, it's whether that this plan is the best plan and the best location that's the least intrusive to the road and lake, and yet it still provides reasonable use of the property. So that's what the board really has to do, is weigh this in making their decision. At a minimum, all structures, including the overhang, really need to be outside of the road right away. When the board visited the property, they noted, as we stated, there are overlapping setbacks. The garage addition will be a single story. The home addition would be 2-story. I mentioned there is a recent survey. As the applicants indicated, we also noted that there's adequate room for parking and turnaround area, and the location of the proposed improvements were well indicated and identified on the property. I do commend the applicants for volunteering to restore the shoreline and also to provide stormwater management to reduce the impacts of the proposed development on the property. And if the variance would be approved, I would encourage that those be conditions of the approval and that those be done in accordance with the recommendations of the Land Conservation Department. And other than that, I think everything else has been considered.
Okay. Next variance to be considered, Jerome and Deborah Reichard, Menominee Falls, Wisconsin, made an application for variance in accordance with section 58-232, paragraph 3 of the Waushara County Zoning Code to construct a 36 by 72 foot detached storage building, 20 feet 4 inches in height, maximum 18-foot height allowed in the RS-20 zone within the shoreline area. Location, an approximate .827 acre parcel of land, being lot number 4 of Welch's Lake Poygan plat and part of the northeast one quarter of the northeast one quarter, section 24, Town of Poisippi, Welch Road. Is the applicant present? Come forward, please. State your name for the record.
Jerome Reichard?
Okay, Jerome, anything further to add at this time?
No, I think the application is pretty complete.
Okay. Just some general questions then for the record. You had a survey done in 2005, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you're sure of all the lot lines?
Yes, I am. They're well marked.
And have you talked to the neighbors about this?
Yes, I have.
What type of foundation will this be on?
There's going to be a sandy clay fill and then topped off with gravel, just road gravel.
Okay. How much actual filling are you going to be doing to this area?
We want to end up with 1 foot above grade.
Okay. Your site plan shows that you'll provide a turnaround, is that correct?
No, there's no turnaround. Just the driveway from Welsh Road to the structure.
Okay. But you won't be backing out onto Welch Road, will you?
No.
Okay. That's what I mean by turnaround, that you're not going to back out onto Welch Road.
Oh, no, that's not likely.
Okay. Any other improvements planned at this time?
No, that's it.
And according to your site plan, you're going to meet all required setbacks?
Actually, we'll be farther into the property line than the 10-foot required.
Okay. And when are you planning on constructing this if an approval were granted?
Everything is set up as soon as possible.
Okay.
And the reason that you are asking for a higher building is because you've got things that won't fit in a smaller one.
Correct. I have a pontoon boat, and then there's a motorhome that needs to go in there. And the motorhome is 11 foot 6 inches, so I need a 12-foot door. And I've talked to my neighbors about this, and my first building looked like a barn. It had the sliding door on it, and, you know, they didn't like that. So I chose an overhead door, like a garage door. It looks more residential. But if you go with that style door, you need 2 feet taller for your walls to accommodate it.
Okay.
So the whole point here is I want a building that fits in with the other houses. It's going to look residential.
Sure.
And you must have noticed when you walk the property, it's landscaped. I want to continue with that, maybe plant some pine trees just on the south side of Welsh Road and tuck it further into the trees.
Okay. Any other committee questions? Okay, thank you, Jerome. Correspondence?
We have a phone call from the town chairman in favor. That phone call was received on the 11th of August. Larry Albright called and indicated the township has no objections to the variance application, and that's all the correspondence we have.
Okay, no one registered to speak in favor or opposition. Staff comments?
This seems like a pretty straightforward request. We've had similar requests in the past. It seems like what happens is as the society evolves, we get larger things that need more space and taller buildings to comply with. The purpose of establishing height limitations is because some of these structures, pole-type buildings, primarily that are established on residential lots, are not always in keeping with the surrounding residential land uses. And I think, you know, even the applicant would agree if this proposal would be across the road on the lake properties, I think there would be more concern by the neighbors and the township. But this is a back lot. It's tucked back out of sight. There isn't any other surrounding buildings that would be adversely affected visually or aesthetically. So I think it's a good location. It is one thing that, however, I would caution the Board of Adjustments, if we have more of these applications, it's probably something we should look at, perhaps amending the zoning code and maybe relaxing the height limits to allow more of these. But there again, it depends as much on where they're located as what kind of building it is. And this certainly would appear to be the type of location that would not be objectionable to the neighbors. So that's really all. When the board visited property, they noted the proposed location was well laid out. A fire number will be needed on the property. The building will meet all required setbacks. And this is a back lot on a dead-end road, so.
Art, when the applicant applies for the application, is a affidavit required
Yes.
of them at that time? So
Yeah.
we don't have to address that issue?
Right. Part of the zoning requirements, it wouldn't have to be a condition of the board if you would decide to approve this application, but part of the zoning requirements is that if a storage building is going up on vacant property where there's not a home, we have them sign an affidavit which says that they're not going to use it for living purposes and it's just used for storage. But that's a zoning requirement. Yeah, I was just going to look through the application. I thought maybe there we might have had the signature already on that. So, good. Thank you.
Okay, next variance to be considered, Scott Wagner, Manitowoc, Wisconsin. Edward Wagner and others landowners have made an application for variance in accordance with section 18-103, paragraph 1, paragraph A of the Waushara County Floods Code and 58-542, paragraph C, paragraph 2 of the Waushara County Zoning Code to construct an approximate 36 by 36 1.5-story single-family dwelling with a 10 by 36 foot attached deck, existing single-family dwelling to be raised, coming to within 7 feet of the northwesterly side lot line, 15-foot setback required, and to fill 1 foot above the regional flood elevation, 7 feet beyond the limits of the proposed home, 15-foot required in the RS-20 single-family residential and flood fringe zones of the shoreline area. Location, the west 1/2 of Lot 2 and the east 1/2 of Lot 3, Block 28 of the plat of Tustin, being part of Government Lot 1 and part of the northeast 1/4 of the southeast 1/4, Section 36, Town of Bloomfield, W817, County Road H, Lake Poygan. Is the applicant present? Hi, Scott.
Howdy.
State your name, please.
Michael Scott Wagner. I go by Scott.
Okay. Anything further to add at this time?
Basically, we're trying to replace a cottage that was built by my grandfather 70 years ago, and we're blessed with 10 grandchildren, and it just doesn't meet our needs anymore. One bathroom just doesn't cut it.
Okay, just a few general questions for the record then. Has there been a recent survey?
No.
Are you sure of the lot lines?
Yes, my neighbor Ken Gerard had his lot surveyed 3 years ago, so I know those lot lines, exactly where those are. 2 doors down, I found Bob Maloney's stakes, so out of the 6, I found 4, and I can measure 66 feet from one and 33 from the other, so I'm within a couple inches of where the lot line is.
Okay. Have you talked to the neighbors about this?
Yes, I have.
Nobody has any major objections?
Not to my face.
Okay. And you'll meet all of the required water and road setbacks, just the north side yard, is that correct?
Yes, I will.
Okay. And you'll be 5 foot further back from the lake than the existing cottage?
Correct.
Okay. What type of foundation would this be on?
Up until yesterday, it was going to be on a crawl space, and now I found out it's more reasonable to put it on a slab with a heated floor, so we're going to go that route unless that changes in the next time I meet with the builder or whatever, but yeah.
Okay, and you're aware of the floodplain regulations and the elevation and filling grading requirements?
Right, fill is a foot above base floodplain, crawl space floor is at base floodplain, structure 2 feet above base floodplain.
Okay, and about how far above existing grade will this bring the first floor?
I'm gonna have, it'll be about, my lot is really low, so I'm about 32 inches lower than what I need to be.
So the elevation of your existing home now is about 32 inches?
Elevation of the ground.
The ground
my
is about
existing-
30, okay.
It's probably closer to 22, 24 if you, because we do step up to go into the existing cottage. But if you're using the dirt, we're about 30 inches
32,
below where we should be.
And you had it all marked out well for the board members that were able to make the on-site, so, but about 30-some inches above grade.
Okay.
Of existing grade, yeah.
Yep, yep.
And what will the finished height of the home be?
Story and a half, less than 35 feet.
Okay. Any other improvements planned at this time?
No, this is enough.
Enough. You'll also be raising the boathouse elevation to meet the floodplain, is that true?
Yeah, I started that and I just finished today. I've got 2 courses of block under it, so I hope you guys vote yes, otherwise my boathouse is gonna look funny.
I guess maybe then the next question isn't applicable. When do you plan on starting this building?
The house probably won't go till spring.
Okay.
I've got my hands full now.
Any other committee questions? Okay. Thanks.
Thank
you. Correspondence?
Yes, we have a number. We have of them. We have a phone call from Mark Stibbs, the chairman of the town of Bloomfield, on August 6th. And he indicated on August 3rd, the town board and the town planning commission met and unanimously supported the Scott Wagner variance application. And we also have 2 letters from neighbors and email from DNR. The 2 letters from neighbors in favor. The first one is from Bob Maloney, N 5082 Park Street, Tustin, Fremont. Good evening, Board of Adjustment and esteemed Fred Gallerup. Mr. Scott Wagner and family are great neighbors and friends of mine. Scott is planning to tear down his old cottage and replace it with an up-to-date home. The new home would increase the beauty of Tustin and be a credit to Waushara County. I enthusiastically support his efforts and also best wishes to you, Mark, on your retirement. Yours truly, Bob Maloney, N 5082 Park Street, Tustin, Fremont, Wisconsin. And we also have a letter in favor from Phil Schneider, dated June 28th. I own the property directly to the east of Scott Wagner. Scott would like to build a new cottage 7 feet from our mutual side lot line. I understand the requirement is 15 feet and would require a variance be given. Scott has explained to me some of the reasons for needing a variance, and I have no objection to him receiving one. This is signed Phil Schneider. This is P.S. The Wagners have been great and helpful neighbors for 3 generations, and we are in complete agreement with their plans to build their new home. And then the email from DNR is regarding the 15-foot of fill around the property that Mr. Wagner is applying for a variance. And this is from David Sturtz, S-T-E-R-T-Z, from the local DNR station here in Watoma. And basically, his part of the email says, I saw the request to vary the 15-foot rule for Wagner property in Tustin. I don't believe that the department has an objection to that, as long as the individual has a justifiable reason for not being able to meet the 15 feet. And that's all the correspondence we have on the application.
Okay,
Question, he owns the property directly to the west, right? This person that wrote this letter, he says he owns it to the east.
Oh.
I wrote that, and Mr. Schneider said, just write something up, I'll sign it, and I put the wrong.
Okay.
I just wanted to make it clear that the direction is wrong.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Yep, no problem. Good.
No one registered to speak in favor or opposition. Staff comments?
I think Mr. Wagner did a pretty good job of explaining the floodplain requirements. Basically, the first floor elevation of the home has to be 2 feet above, and the fill has to be 1 foot above, 15 feet around. The variance then also has to be for the filling requirements around the home to be less than 15 feet. The average setback from the lake is 45 feet for a deck and 55 feet for the home. Mr. Wagner would be meeting that. When the board noted or visited the property, they noted that the fill levels and the home location were well laid out by Mr. Wagner. The improvements would meet the required average setback from the lake. The boathouse was allowed through a variance application to be greater than, at that time, I think it was 240 square feet, and constructed to within 3 feet of the side lot line. That was by variance in 1994. Sometime after that, the overhang was added on to that, and I think everything else has been considered.
Okay. Final variance to be considered tonight, James L. and Mary G. Madden, Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin. Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin, made an application for variance in accordance with section 58-542, paragraph C, paragraph 2, and section 58-826, paragraph B of the Waushara County Zoning Code to construct a 32 by 30 foot 2-story single-family dwelling with a 12 by 32 foot attached deck. Existing single-family dwelling to be raised, coming within 10 feet of both side lot lines, 15 foot required, and to construct a 24 by 34 single-story detached garage, existing detached garage to be raised, coming to within 26 feet of the center line of Chicago Point Road, 35 foot average setback required in the RS-20 single-family residential zone within the shoreline area. Location, a .23 acre parcel of land, being lot 34 of Lakeview Point subdivision and part of the northeast 1/4, the northwest 1/4, section 7, Town of Marion, N2098, Chicago Point Road, Silver Lake. Is the applicant present? Would you come forward, please? State your name.
James Madden.
Okay, James. Anything further to add at this time?
Well, just a little bit. We purchased the property about 10 years ago with the intent of tearing the existing cottage down and building a house to retire at. Unfortunately, in that fall, our son was hurt, and he's a quadriplegic now, but now that he is self-sufficient, we are again free to proceed with what we had planned 10 years ago. The existing cottage was built, I think probably in the 20s or early 30s, and was built almost on the lot line to the north. It's about 1 foot from the existing lot line to the north. And what will happen with the new home is it will be moved to the center of the lot, and we're asking for a variance of 5 feet, and if the lot actually faced the lake, we'd only need 2 feet, 1 on each side. So going to be the corners on the south side and the back corner on the north side that really needs large variance. Because it's close to the lake, we will have a crawl space. It will be cement with a cement floor and a sump pump. And being a two-story house, it will match the house next door to the north, very similar to it in construction. And I think that's all I can think of.
Okay. A few general questions for the record then. You're sure the lot lines and the road right away?
Yes, we had it surveyed in the last 6 months.
Okay.
Copy of it, I believe, is in the packet.
Yep. Have you talked with the township and the neighbors about this?
I talked to the town board president some time ago, and he said he left that up to the commission.
Okay. And any plan on how you're going to deal with the erosion and stormwater runoff?
Immediately to the west of our property, on the property itself, there's a culvert, and all that stormwater from several of the surrounding neighbors runs through that culvert into the wetland behind us, which is owned by the neighbor to the north.
Okay. Home is going to be two-story, and the garage will be a single-story, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. How far above the existing grade will the first floor elevation be?
Approximately 2 feet, because of the existing grade is about 2 feet lower to the rear than it is to the front.
Okay. And approximately, what is the finished height of the home in the garage? Be under the 35-foot, right?
Under the 35-foot, yes, sir.
Okay.
And the garage would be a single-story garage, less than 18 feet high?
Yes.
Okay. Any other improvements planned at this time?
No.
And all other setbacks will be met, right?
Correct.
And you've got plenty of room there for parking and a turnaround?
I believe so. We will have some existing property to the south that will be available for parking if need be.
Okay. And if an approval were granted, when are you planning on construction?
We would plan to start this fall and have the building itself up before winter.
Any other committee questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Correspondence?
We have 2 letters from neighbors in support, which I'll read. The first is from Ed and Bonnie Kissinger. As neighbors of the Maddens to the north, we write to give our support to their variance request. We feel that a 32 by 32 structure is a reasonable size and is not something that will overwhelm the lot. The lot is narrow, 60 feet, and the lot lines are not perpendicular to the shoreline. Therefore, it is very difficult to avoid a side lot variance if one wants to place the building so it is parallel to the lake shore. The existing building is old and has seen better days. The new structure should be a good improvement. The Madden's plan is to center the new building on the lot, which we strongly support. Sincerely, Ed and Bonnie Kissinger. We also have a letter in support from Donald and Kathy Bertzik at N2118 Chicago Point Road. And he said, we are next door neighbors, adjacent neighbors to James and Mary Madden's. We are not adjacent neighbors to James and Mary Madden's property, but we live on the same road, Chicago Point Road. We are familiar with their property and their plans to build a new house on Lot 34. We have no objections to their requests for variances, as these are needed to make it possible to build the proposed structure. We also have no objection to the proposed garage. Most garages on this road do not meet the 35-foot setback, and there have been no problems or accidents on this road that we know of. We do not think this garage will cause any safety problems, as this road is very lightly traveled. We recently went through the process of obtaining variances for our home on Chicago Point Road. We were very pleased with the way the zoning board handled our requests. They should be commended for their attention to zoning laws and their consideration when it is not possible to fully meet these laws. Kathy and I would like to thank the board for the way they handled our request and hope the same consideration would be given to James and Mary Madden. I personally would like to thank Mark for his handling of our request. He's very knowledgeable, and the zoning board will lose a good person when he retires. His knowledge of zoning laws has been a great asset to Waushara County. Happy retirement, Mark. Donald and Kathy Bertzik, again, N2118 Chicago Point Road. And that's all the correspondence we have.
No one registered in favor or objection. Staff comment?
The allowed average is 35 feet to the center of the road for the detached garage. The setback from the water is 39.5 feet for a deck and 53 feet for a home. The water setbacks will be met. We've had a number of similar variance requests to the road on this section of the lake. This, as I agree with the neighbors, seems like a very reasonable request. When the board visited the property, they noted that all the improvements will be removed. The new home will meet the required water setbacks. Land Conservation has visited the site, and the proposed improvements were well laid out when the board visited the property. And that's all the comment I would have on the application.
Okay, that closes the public hearing for the Board of Adjustment. I guess at this time, I would certainly like to thank Mark Schumacher for his many years of dedicated service to Waushara County. Waushara County will be losing a very hardworking, honest, dedicated man. Wish you the best in your retirement.
Thank you, Roger.
This is number 412.
412 public hearing application. Yeah, 412 public hearings, yeah. That's a lot.
That's a lot. I've been with them for a lot of those.
Most of them, I
Most
think.
of them.
Yep.
And Mark has always had an open door policy and many night, weekend meetings for lake associations and whatnot when they were here. Truly going to miss you, Mark.
Thank you, Roger. Appreciate it.
Okay. We will go in.